Welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast. This is Richard Duran, Athletic Director at the University of the Incarnate Word. The Leadership Development Program at the NCAA allowed me to not only fine-tune my skills, but prepare me to take the AD chair. My time in the Pathways program not only allowed me to connect with true professionals throughout the industry, but also learn real-life lessons on how to apply my skills and serve our student athletes to the best of my ability. Leadership development is a crucial aspect of the NCAA to produce the future leaders within the organization. Always do the right things for the right reasons and enjoy the episode.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast, where we highlight executive and organizational leadership. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 1Q Leadership. We are here at the NACTA convention and I'm joined by Liz Reyes and Ben Rodriguez. And for the sake of not messing up titles,
right,
I'm going to let you two introduce your titles and the institution you're currently at. Liz, first.
Yes, I am at the University of Illinois, and I'm our Associate AD for the Illini Way Student Athlete Development Office.
Yeah, and I'm at Rutgers University right now, the Director of Development, focused on the major gift side.
I want to have both of you on. Ben, we talked last year. You mentioned that you were trying to create a group or an organization, or maybe you have already created the organization that looks at the people in the college athletics industry who have a Hispanic background. So I want to have you both on to talk about that type of experience, the purpose of the organization, other people who are within the organization, and really what it means to be somebody who has a Latin background who works in college athletics.
Yeah.
So, Liz, you have some experience interviewing people,
yes,
and you've been a guest on the One Question Leadership Podcast. So if you'll start us off with how you think this conversation should go.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if we have a discussion on our past experiences and the leadership components that we can pull from our backgrounds and kind of look forward to what are some ideas that we have that we think could improve the journey for others that are coming behind us. I also think we need to definitely say our praises to those who have paved the way for us. There's so many people that have, come before us, and we stand on the shoulder of giants. And when I see people like that, I just get so motivated, and I say that, that could be us. So I think we definitely need to pay homage to those who have come before us. And then, we can talk about how we want to move forward. How do we build a community for us, for those that aren't seen yet? So I think we could talk about those different areas.
Yeah. And so just kind of building on that, I think one thing that I've noticed in my career, which has been a combination of being in student athlete development and now on the fundraising side, is oftentimes when we talk about different experiences and diversifying experiences, it's usually focused on the Black experience, right? The Black administrator experience or the Black student athlete experience. And while that's obviously important, and we'll get to that in a second, it gets me thinking, even within that minority group, we're a much smaller minority, right? Mm-hmm. And how can we have conversations, share, thoughts and similar experiences and similar goals, that we have, because it's not really being done right now, right? And so, again, I think it's an important conversation. Appreciate, you getting us on, Ty, and having it, because again, there's a lot we can do there. So.
Yeah. No, what I'd like to hear about is your experiences so far. You talk about the experiences of someone, for me, who's African-American, and microaggressions, or someone may not know that what they're saying might come across the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I would like to hear some of the experiences you had throughout your careers.
Yeah, I'll start on that one. So it really goes back to high school, right? And so I played football, believe it or not. I know I'm not a big guy, but so I can remember walking into the locker room in high school and, seeing white teammates on one side of the locker room, Black teammates on the other side of the locker room, and then just kind of like, man, where do I fit in that space, right? Not really knowing, right? And that same feeling followed me when I got to college, right? I had a chance to play football at Stony Brook, and again, same thing. You get in the locker room, and there's a divide there, but still not with, I'm not around folks that look like me in that space. And, I think more than anything, it can mess with your confidence too, right? And, again, do I belong kind of thing. And so, fast forward now, right? I've been in my career for a few years, and, that similar feeling happens when I walk into a boardroom, right? And when I'm going into a meeting with executive staff, and again, it's often I'm the only one of Hispanic heritage, right, that is in that room, right? And so, again, for me, it's how do we begin to change that? And I think there's any number of ways, right? Even going back to the high school level, and what are we doing to help educate the Hispanic community about opportunities that exist in the college space, right? We know that we make up, 16% of the U.S. population, and when it comes to the student-athlete population, we're 5% or less, right? Administratively, even lower than that, right? Now that I'm in fundraising, there's like 1% of me in that space, right? And so, there's a lot that as a community we can contribute, and again, I think it's these conversations, Ty, right? And that can help get this thing going.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely, of course, I have the utmost respect for the Black community and what they've been able to overcome. And I know that's an ongoing process. They haven't arrived yet, but every day it's a battle, every day to step into a boardroom, every day to want to have the motivation to function at a high level when the stacks, the odds are stacked against you. And I say all that to say, just to share a brief moment that I had with a professional, and we were talking about somebody who was a Black male, and she was speaking to me, obviously knowing that I was Mexican, but she just assumed that I had everything, handed to me, or that she was speaking on how I probably didn't have as many challenges in my career trajectory. And she was like, because, you're Mexican, but he's Black. So, his journey, he comes from here and he had to overcome this. Zero awareness of the challenges that you and I, Ben, could have experienced as Mexican professionals in the world of sports. So I think also there's an assumption that it's an easy, straight shot, and that by the time that we get to be featured on a podcast like this, we just made it and arrived. But there's been so many hurdles that we've had to jump and also overcome. So I want to raise awareness on that it's always been a challenging road as well when you're trying to find your own identity in the U.S. Like for me, my parents come from Mexico, right? They barely speak English. And to be in the U.S. trying to find your way as a first-generation student, trying to find your way and break into the industry, and you want to see yourself like a Dr. Monica Lebron at Tennessee as a deputy AD. You want to see yourself as Desiree Reed-Francois, who's an athletic director at a Power 5 institution at Missouri. But there's been hurdles along the way, and I don't think that we talk about those hurdles or those challenges, that we don't surface them, or that maybe people just, again, like that women just have zero awareness. And I think, there are stereotypes with our community as well. One of them, Mexicans work really hard. Well, yeah, that's in our culture and our DNA. When I had to work in the fields with my parents from dusk to dawn, and I'm covered in dirt and pesticides and chemicals, I don't ever want to do that again. That's in my DNA. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of these fields and pursue my career with excellence and whatever I can do, because I'm never going back there again. Well,
that kind of gets me thinking too. We talked some before we got on about different experiences, right? And so in the fundraising space, I've seen and been witness to some off-color comments that, to your point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not aware, right? And so it's I think what's important is that, again, when you're looking at different minority communities, whether it's the Black community, Hispanic, Asian, whichever, there's a set of challenges that we all face, and there's some similarities in there, some differences, but it's sure. I think the biggest thing that I'd like people to know is for us, it's not about a comparison, right? Of who's got it worse and all that. And so, again, that's why being on this is great, right? Because I think there are things that we can learn from, for example, the Black Student Athlete Summit, right? How that's grown from 70 people attending to thousands now, right? That's a great example there for us, I think, to try to emulate and keep this thing moving. So
for sure. Another thing that I'd like to mention is, what are some things that have helped us along the way? I know for me, mentorship has been super valuable along my career trajectory. And then having people take a chance on you, when they're looking at your resume and they're like, you seem like a good fit, but honestly, you don't have the experience. I think about one of my mentors who's at Tennessee. His name is Chris Johnson. back in the middle of my career thus far, he was at Arkansas, and I wanted to apply for one of his football academic positions. And I'm telling him, I know I don't have football. I've never been in the room, but if you open the door and you let me be in there, I will crush it. I will make sure you look good. I'm going to work for you. Like, I'm going to do everything that I can that's in my power for us to be successful. If you take a chance on me, you won't regret it. So I really value somebody like that who's a white male who could advocate for me. And like, I fast forward now, Dr. Brian Russell, a sport administrator at the University of Illinois, who hired me a few years ago, about 3 years ago. Same thing, a white male who's an ally and a champion to somebody like me, a Mexican upcoming woman in the industry. But it's also that population of the majority who could help us move forward, who are already in the room and have power, who can say your name, who can champion you. I think mentorship is, of course, invaluable. And then on the other side, the strong females that I've had in my career, Kim Duran, an executive at the University of Washington, others, I can go on, but I just, I feel like I do have to pay homage to those people who have taken a chance on me. And hope that we can continue to do that for Hispanics in our community.
Yeah. Let me step in here real quick. We did a study or published an article on Athletic Director U a few years ago, and it was on women who have made it to the chair, Division I. Mm-hmm. And what it showed was that no matter if you have relationships with other women who have reached the chair, mm-hmm. the best way to become an athletic director in Division I was to have relationships, genuine professional relationships with white males who have made it to the chair.
Yeah.
No matter what. If you have those relationships, the path to the chair is a bit easier than if you don't have those relationships. And I find that interesting. To your point, Liz, you know what? You want mentors that look like you because they can help you and they have navigated the waters that you may have to navigate.
Yeah.
But you also have to have mentors that don't look like you because they can help you get to where you might want to get within your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just going to add to that same point. I'm in the process of my PhD journey. I have...
Yeah, let's get that done.
I know.
Dr. Reyes, we like it.
It's loading. It's loading. Yes, but that's actually what I'm researching is mentorship. And to your point, Ty, it's super valuable to have both. And what I'm looking at is in terms of sex, to have the same sex, like a female-to-female mentorship. To your point, the connection is instantaneous. Like they understand the politics of it, how to move in the room, who the stakeholders are. If you have a family, if you're married, how to balance work and your at-home duties. But then also a lot of times those women aren't always in the position of power. They're not overseeing football. They're not overseeing capital projects, fundraising development. So while they can try to pull for you, it's not going to go as far as your male champions in the room. So while that connection to your male counterparts may not be instantaneous, they will champion you and say your name in the room, and that pull can go further than the other one. And
it's just like anything else in life, balance, right? Finding balance. Mm-hmm. And there are there's a few mentors that I can think about too, and they fit many different demographics, right? Like what we're talking about. So first one, and I know it's this commonality for me and you, but E. Wood, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Eric Wood at Louisiana Tech. Like, his mom's Puerto Rican. I know he was down here enjoying some Puerto Rican food and all that, but like he's been great for me, right? Because he's been able to really kind of teach me, hey, this is what it's like if you want to navigate those spaces. Mm-hmm. And as a young person kind of getting in at UCF, I can remember being like real rigid and this way and, just like, and he kind of softened me up, right? And it's not that it's that we're not pursuing the same goals or trying to make the same change, but like, hey, there's a way to do it, right? And I'm forever grateful to him. But there's somebody else, Jared Benko, right? When I was at Mississippi State, he knew I wanted to be an AD. And at the time I was in student athlete development and kind of said, hey, just like everyone else, fundraising can help you get there, right? And he gave me my first fundraising job on the major gift side, right? I'm thinking about somebody like Jessica Rio, who's at Temple now. She's been, she's every step of the way she's been there. So there's a lot. Christina Roybal, right, at Northern Kentucky, seeing her, a Hispanic woman, take over a program. That's been great. Richard Duran. I mean, the list goes on and on. But finding that balance, to you guys' point, finding that balance of people from all different demographics can help us get there. And then it's incumbent on us once we get there to make sure we're doing the same for everybody else, right? And I love coming out here and introduce myself to young upcoming Hispanics that are trying to be in the business too, because to your point, and we talked about this before, Liz, community, right? Making sure we make them feel welcome and just impart whatever wisdom we may have, on the process too.
Yeah, I think that's super important, the building community piece. As you walk through these hallways, you wonder, or you may already know, like, that is a Hispanic administrator or a Hispanic member who's on the panel that's speaking. Like, I need to connect with them. We need to make sure that we identify each other and that we stay connected and that we do follow up to build that community. It's really on us, as challenging as these journeys have been. It's really on us to make sure that we are the ones that build the community. And, to the younger practitioners, to the younger members who are joining NACTA and hearing this, like, we, our
find us,
yeah,
right?
Our message
Find
is
us.
We're here.
That's right.
We want to help. We want to be mentors to you. We want to help you navigate your journeys. I think that's super, super important. And I think there's what I found in the last few years, there's a little bit of a hesitation or a little bit of resistance there to reach out, and I hope that we can tear down those barriers. I want people reaching out saying, hey, I heard you were a Hispanic administrator at Illinois. I heard you in Ben. I heard you in Thai speaking. I just wanted to say hello, like, reach out.
Is there a formal or informal network or some form of community that people can be a part of?
Yeah, so, Todd, we talked about this last time, and Liz has kind of helped with the building of this organization. We call it La Casa, right? And so we're still kind of, building out the framework of that. And, personally, transition with new jobs has been there. But that's the goal of that group, is going to be building that sense of community, that network. Again, when folks are hiring, we want to be a resource for them, right? Yeah. And so we always hear about it's important to diversify your pool, your candidate pool.
Yeah.
And then I'm in sessions, and not calling anybody out, but you're in sessions, and it's you're going to the same people, right, to get the same pool, right? And so we got to be a resource for that too. But La Casa, you can find it on Twitter. And again, we got to do more with it, but there's a lot of folks have expressed interest in being a part of that, and I think as we kind of grow that, have more access, to show it here, a platform to show it here, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Is it just on Twitter? Just
yeah, it's
La
on
Casa?
Twitter now. You can reach out to
LACASA.
Oh, good. Thank you for saying that. LACAASA.
Yeah, come
right,
on now.
so,
If you're gonna plug it, right?
Yeah. So, it's a work in progress. But it's important, as we mentioned before. That was born out of the Black Student Athlete Summit, right? Like, I remember going there and saying, my gosh, this is awesome. Our student athletes, I was at Mississippi State at the time. We brought 4 student athletes there, and they got to see themselves represented at the highest levels, right. ADs, presidents, coaches, right? Yeah. And I remember going back to my hotel room like, man, does anything like this exist for people that look like us? And I'm doing research, couldn't find anything. And that's where this was born, right? And so as I shared that story with Liz, she was one of the first people I called, like, let's brainstorm on this. Like, what can we do? So there's, like I said, a lot of folks, there's a need for it. And we just got to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, and worst case, follow Ben on social media, follow me, or email us, contact us. We'll definitely have the conversation with you, because, again, it's on us to build this from the ground up and build it together. Like I said, definitely we're paying homage to those who are already at the seat or just about. We want to grow that even further. We want it part of my soul, if I'm being honest, part of my soul dies a little bit when I come to incredible conferences like these and I walk down the hallway and not one person on any of the panels that I go to looks like me. When I walk down the hallway and not one billboard, not one award is issued to a person that looks like me. What I can come close to is a Heather like at Pitt. She's a female athletic director, and I'm like, wow, it'd be great even if it was a male, if it was a Hispanic male that was winning one of these awards on all of these affiliations. It'd be awesome if I could see one of those come. And
I do want to give a shout out to the NCAA Leadership Development Team, right? Like, I think we're all a product of that. Sure. And I think they do a tremendous job of, building that community. We talked about, sometimes the Black experience versus the Hispanic and Asian experience, but they do a great job of bringing us all together. And so I can see a partnership down the road, even with La Casa and, the NCAA Leadership Development Team, because it's all the same goal, right? Like, we want to increase representation for all, just provide opportunities for people.
If we were to, as we wrap up, I don't know if it's been defined or if it hasn't been defined. The purpose of La Casa. Again, LACAASA, right?
So let's do it one more time. It's the Latino Association for Collegiate Athletics Administrators and Student Athletes. It's a mouthful. LACAASA.
And that's on Twitter,
And that's on
right?
Twitter, yeah.
So if we were to put it out there, the purpose of the organization, whether it's been established or not established, how would you define the why the specific organization exists?
Man, the why is increased representation and opportunities for Hispanics in college athletics specifically. If you look, there are organizations that are focused on the professional side.
Yeah.
But this is an organization focused on the collegiate athletics model. And so again, doing research and trying to find out does it exist. It doesn't. This is untapped. Again, there's a lot of work we can do there, but that's the goal, increased representation. And so it manifests itself in a couple different ways. One, programming on campus, whether that's affinity groups on campus or whatnot, providing an opportunity to be a hiring resource, as we mentioned before, right? If you have a job, hey, come to us. We already started building out, a framework or a network of people that we know in student athlete development, in fundraising now. I've made a bunch recently, which has been great, right? Facilities, across the board, compliance. So again, that's another piece of it. That's how I think we can get there. And it can take many different forms, but those are the initial thoughts that we have.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What I'm thinking is, so the purpose is out there, right? You'll establish the core values of the organization.
Oh, no doubt.
Establish
no
the core
doubt,
values, the mission, the vision you want to do, accomplish.
Strategic plan.
You'll get the Lisa Campos, the Richard Duran, the Eddie Nunez. You'll get the people who are out there in these positions and get them on board because they want to support and be a part of it. And from there, the organization will continue to grow. This has been an excellent conversation, Ben, Liz. I really appreciate you joining us here on the One Question Leadership Podcast.
Appreciate it, Ty.
Thank you so much for having us, really.
Thank you. That was Liz Reyes. She's at University of Illinois, and Ben Rodriguez is at Rutgers University. And of course, I am Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of the One Question Leadership Podcast is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.